Hello everyone, and welcome to Chengdu!
This is Chengdu, a city that's probably best known for these fuzzy little creatures, the giant panda, which you'll get to see more of soon in later Chengdu videos, and it's also very well known for its food, particularly the spicy food. But in order to get there first, we had to take the train from Xi'an to Chengdu, and this was our longest train ride so far at over 4 hours. So once we eventually arrived at the train station, we waited around for a little bit before it was time for us to go ahead and board, and off we went. This was the first train ride that I'd been particularly looking forward to because this was the first time that the trains were going to be going in mountains. So I was looking forward to the scenery that would be coming up ahead. And I kept track of where we were on my phone as we went along on the train ride.
Pretty soon I will have mountains. It'll be scenery.
And soon enough, there they were, slowly creeping up out of the fog, just a little bit off to the distance.
Okay, here comes mountains.
Having looked at the map, I knew that we would be heading through the Taiping National Forest Park, and I kept on eagerly checking out both sides of the train for what would hopefully be good opportunities to take shots with my camera. But unfortunately, that wasn't exactly what happened on this train ride. Instead of going over the mountains, this is what we saw most of the time.
Well, it feels like it's been an hour. Apparently, the park is going to be the underside of a mountain. Well, I hope you're enjoying the scenery. I can see us reflected in the windows. There's Jared and I.
Since we were stuck in the tunnel most of the time, we could only look at the TV screens and try to entertain ourselves with other methods such as looking at the Chinese newspaper, which, unfortunately, wasn't very helpful for my father. So while I occupied myself with the newspaper, my father instead decided he'd take videos of what people were wearing, which ended up including mostly just looking at the Nike shoes that the people on the train sitting next to us were wearing. But he eventually gave up on that too. Occasionally, we'd get to see a peak of greenery outside the window, but that would quickly disappear as we'd go right back into the tunnel, over and over again.
Jared was so excited to be going into the mountains to see the beautiful scenery that is talked about. Well,
I guess we know there isn't much.
is it too late to change plans and go to Dali in the jungle?
And that's what normally happens.
But eventually we had a reprieve from the tunnels and ended up in a valley near the city of Hanzhong. And thankfully here we were able to take a few videos of the cloudy sky and the glowing green fields, with an overcast sky above. And at the same time, this was the perfect time for us to go ahead and eat our packed lunches. Jelly-filled egg toast, along with a whole lot of milk teas, which was our staple drink for most of the trip. But it was really nice after over an hour inside of the tunnel to finally get to see a little greenery and to be able to tell where we were progressing on my phone's map. One of the really interesting things though that we started to notice was that there aren't really very many tall trees in most of China. And looking up about this later, we were able to learn that actually only 3% of original old-growth forests still remain in China. So most of the trees that you see have been recently planted, within the last few decades. But at least it provides for a nice green view. We must have passed by so many different towns and villages that no one from outside of China has probably ever heard of. Unfortunately, the one bad thing about being on a train ride is that sometimes you'll see something interesting like these little shrines pop up in the middle of nowhere as you're passing by, and you aren't able to film them and figure out what they were, because the time that you see them is just too short. But what you are able to see is just how much China continues to develop pretty much everywhere across the country, as new high-rises and apartments keep on skyrocketing. But if there's one thing that I liked looking at the most, it was definitely this mountainous view, with the Tibetan Plateau rising up in the far distance. Anyways, we eventually started pulling into Chengdu and caught a glimpse of the panda reserve outside of our window. And although you won't see it in this video, don't worry, You'll be seeing it soon. And at long last, our train ride was over. So if you're thinking about doing this train ride, just know for most of it, you probably won't get to see much, but the little that you do get to see might be worth it. Once we finally arrived at our hotel in Chengdu, the first thing that we did was go outside, explore the mall nearby, and look for a restaurant for dinner. And the one that I decided for us to try was this one, Green Tea Restaurant, or Lü Cha in Mandarin. Green Tea, it is a chain that is around different cities in China. And I have been wanting to try this one for a while, and now we are finally going to be trying it. And while waiting, we looked over at other people's food until our appetizer came. This soup right here. Stone pot full of tofu soup with little pieces of meat. Okay. This is the Chinese version of what I would say Marie Callender's chicken pot pie tastes like. So this is soothing, this is good, but it's tofu instead of chicken. And then our main dishes arrived. Here we have our pickled vegetable beef potato dish. We have our eggplant dish, our actually fried rice, and then the tofu soup. All of this looks good. I'll have to dig in and try out each one. Already did that one. Let's see how these three are. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and dig into the fried rice first, see how that is. Actually good fried rice. Now let's do the eggplant next. Oh. That's buttery, very light. I could eat a lot of that. And now let's go for the brisket. Falls apart in your mouth instantly. It's a little spicy, but this is a good meal. No regrets with these dishes. And the second time eating the eggplant was even better. Oh my goodness. This eggplant is the best eggplant I've ever had. Now to be fair, I've had less eggplant in my life than I think most people, because I thought for a while I was allergic to it, but I wasn't. And this just takes the cake. It is definitely a 10 for a dish. For just one thing in it, which is eggplant, you can't beat this. That's good. That is really good. If I'm allergic, I'll take my EpiPen and eat this. And then it was my father's turn to try the food.
I'm starting with the Chinese version of Jewish brisket. You have the potatoes and the meat and some kind of green sauce. Ooh. My eyes are open. This is kind of like chili verde brisket style. So now you know how to make a Mexican Chinese brisket.
And next, it was time for the eggplant.
Oh, that's smooth. This is really good as butter. My final conclusion of this meal, I'll be drooling very happily tonight.
Green tea. I had a good feeling about this place when I saw it back in Wuhan, and now it is confirmed to have my favorite dish I've ever had in China, that eggplant. Definitely going to have to see if it's the same in Wuhan when I go there again. And thankfully for me, it was. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video on Chengdu. I know this was short, but don't worry about it. I have a lot more to this city that's coming up in future videos, so you can look forward to the next one later this week, because I'm going to try and start getting my videos out even faster. Bye! Thank you again for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Also, please share this channel with others so we can make the channel grow together as I continue to put out more videos.